Hello and welcome back to Sormom's YouTube channel. My name is Rasmus and today we will be talking about tattoo sleeves. What is a tattoo sleeve? I think the word says it all. A tattoo sleeve is a combined big tattoo which looks like a sleeve, something you pull down. When I think about a tattoo sleeve, the first thing that comes to my mind is David Beckham. David Beckham was kind of the first really well-known super celebrity that rocked a tattoo sleeve. If you want to get a tattoo sleeve, it's not something you just walk into a tattoo shop off the street and get done. A tattoo sleeve is a big project, and if a tattoo sleeve has to turn out as a good tattoo sleeve, you really need to prepare, give it some thoughts, talk to an artist, and come up with a design that kind of works well as a sleeve. When talking about tattoo sleeves, there's of course not only the full sleeve, there is something called a half sleeve. Some people cut it here, some people cut it here, and then there is the leg sleeve. When you are in the situation where you know you want to get a tattoo sleeve, a full sleeve, or you might step into that path of getting the full sleeve done, it's really important that you do a lot of research. Spend your time on looking at different artists, looking at their work, look at what they do in a smaller project, but most importantly, look at what they do when it is full sleeve or larger scale projects, because an artist can easily be really good at some small stuff and then not have a lot of experience in doing full sleeve projects. There are also artists that only do small projects. So do your research, look for what you like, and of course, have a good conversation and communication with the artist before you settle and pay the down payment for your many new sessions. So how do you get started on a tattoo sleeve? It all starts from the idea phase, from figuring out if you have an idea, if you have a theme, if you have a complete roadmap of the entire tattoo sleeve, or you could also have no idea what you want except for a certain look, and therefore it's always really good to start out by talking to a tattoo artist or even multiple tattoo artists about your ideas and what you want the visual look to feel like once you're done. You might also be the guy or girl that just walks into a tattoo shop and be like, show me what you got, I just want a tattoo sleeve. That's good stuff for an artist because that really brings freedom into the game. And that's what a lot of tattoo artists, they really love. You might also just be a fan of this specific artist and want something by this artist. I think that's also a really cool way to collect your unique art. The next step is the design process. In the design process, the tattoo artist will take whatever input you have, put it into the bowl, mix it around, play with the thoughts in his or her head, and come up with some ideas for the final design. Things to consider for the final design is really make sure that it's all put into the first initial conversations about the design, because say you want to do a underwater theme or a landscape, and then suddenly you end up having the skies here and a mountain here. That looks really bad. You don't want a tiger roaring in the forest here and then a sun here. It should be the opposite way, like in the real world. It's also really important to understand that a tattoo sleeve or a full sleeve or half sleeve, it's not just something you get done in one sitting. Now you have the design, you have to prepare the whole timeline for getting the sleeve done. And based on availability with your artist, based on your wallet and your willingness to do many sessions, it can take anything from 3 months to 3 years to get a full sleeve done. Some people, they do one session at a time, maybe once every month, every 2 months. Some clients, they prefer, and some artists, they prefer doing 2 sessions in a row. And of course, the more sessions you can do at a faster pace, the quicker the full sleeve will be done. Basically, it all depends on how much you want to put into it, availability, the style, the level of details. Is it color? Is it black and gray? How compact is the design? Is it super detailed everywhere? It all depends. And of course, that also has an impact on the price. And then starts the whole tattoo process. From my experience and what I see with most artists, the first few sessions, or the first session at least, when you do a full sleeve project, is kind of a weird thing, because some artists, they will put on stencils, they will freehand some stuff in between, and then they will map the entire tattoo. And for me, it blows my mind every time I see an artist mapping and preparing for a full sleeve, because these guys are wizards sometimes. The way they can do small dotted lines and kind of thin outlines, that is what they call mapping. And then in their mind, they know what it's going to be. And at the end, it's going to be an amazing full sleeve project. That's just amazing. But don't expect your first tattoo session to be one where you'll be like, ah yeah, I see where this is heading. Because Often it can look more messy than what the ideas were when you started, but don't worry, it's because the artist knows what he or she is doing. It's really important that you as a client have patience in what the artist is doing, because that entire mapping process and a lot of the work that the artist is doing on such a big project is something you don't see immediately. It has a reason for the longer process, or how to say it. Patience is key. Trust your artists and trust that they know what they're doing. That's why we pay them to do an amazing job. And of course, to ensure that the process is nice, both for you and for the artist, it's also really important that you prioritize communication, and that goes both ways, both for the artist and for the client. Because say there is something that you forget to ask about that the artist for some reason puts, like could be a detail in your tattoo, you'll live with it for the rest of your life. If you come up with something along the process, like a small funny detail, or you have a question, just say it, ask, because a tattoo sleeve sits there forever, like all tattoos, but a sleeve is just so big that you have to look at it the rest of your life, and it really becomes a part of you every time you're not wearing a long sleeve than you're wearing your tattoo sleeve. I would say rather ask 10 too many questions than 1 too little, because yeah, communication is key for the full result. Also, communication-wise, I would say it's important to know your limitations, both pain-wise and patience-wise when you have a tattoo sitting. And of course, it also goes for the artist, because stressed work is always, or has a very high tendency to become not as good work as it could be. So yeah, communicate, tell your artist if you're about to pass out, if you're about to bail out and you can't take it anymore, and think about the longer project and the final result of your tattoo sleeve. So let's jump over to some of the most seen and most popular sleeve styles. Let's get back to David Beckham, the black and gray sleeve. Nothing bad about his tattoos, but David Beckham's black and gray sleeves was a way of black and gray work that they did back when he got his sleeve. Whereas today, the level of details and the contrast and basically the final result that you can see in a black and gray sleeve is just a different level. I personally like both ways, but it's not all artists, and it's not necessarily the same just getting a black and gray sleeve. So there is the, how do we put it, the older black and gray work like David Beckham has, and then you have the newer kind of black and gray work with could be statues, it could be portraits, it could be buildings, it could be kind of a landscape. It can be basically anything that looks real for the eye. So everything you can see on a monochrome picture or on a monochrome video, you can basically put that into a black and gray tattoo sleeve where you can combine a full world of what you want it to be. There's also color realism. Color realism has the same level of details or even more, because the colors will pop. It will just look different and more realistic basically. I personally like color realism a lot when I see it. It's incredible what these guys out there can do, but I don't have a lot of color realism myself. Then you have neo-traditional sleeve projects that also kind of can be combined as one bigger world. It can be an underwater theme, it can be a wild nature theme with flowers, with trees, with tigers and whatever. Also, it's becoming very popular right now with manga sleeves. You have even sleeves that looks like an entire cartoon when you open it. There are so many ways to do it. You can also do sleeves with traditional stuff. For me, that's however not what I would call a sleeve. I would say that's more like spot tattoos. It's what I have personally. But you do also see people with traditional old school tattoos where it ends up as a sleeve, because it will be a lot of smaller pieces, and then it can be kind of connected with small stars and small signs and all kind of stuff. So you do also see those sleeves. There's also mandala sleeves, which is a combination of solid work, shading and dot work, and that's also very trendy right now. Another trendy thing right now is let's call it Fineline and Floral designs that is focused a lot on thinner outlines, some shading, some dot work, and that can be done as a full sleeve, but doesn't have that immediate and big impact on the eye, because it maybe looks more like jewelry or kind of an accessory on the skin. And that's also very popular right now, especially amongst women, because it has this feminine touch. And not to forget, one of the very traditional ones and very popular ones through history is the Japanese/Oriental sleeves. It is what you see with the Yakuza, it's what you see not a lot of artists that can do today. It has a lot of tradition and history, especially from where it originates. For me, that's also one of my favorite styles. I think it's really, really cool, but it's also a thing that you kind of have to get done with the right history and by the right artist to be able to really rock it for real. So to sum it up, a tattoo sleeve is a big decision, like all kind of tattoos. But a tattoo sleeve is maybe the biggest decision you can do when you get a tattoo. It's permanent, it's gonna sit there forever, and it's gonna be a really, really big part of you. It's what everyone will see. Be smart, give it some thoughts, think it through maybe a few more times, and don't do it spontaneously. And in order to get the best result, do your research, look up what different artists can do, go talk to several artists, unless you know the specific one. Have patience, give the artist freedom, because that's what's gonna make the job fun for them as well. A tattoo that is done with passion, of course all tattoos are done with passion, but where they put that maybe 2% extra into the tattoo, it's also gonna be 10% cooler. Be patient, it's gonna take forever, it's gonna hurt like a motherfucker, and it's a costly affair. But a well done, well thought through and proper planned tattoo sleeve is some of the coolest art that one can rock. And I really admire those who has a really well done tattoo sleeve, because that is cool. If you have any questions, if you like the video, please leave a comment below, ask a question below, share this with your friend. If you have a friend that is always, I have those friends that is always talking about, I want to get a tattoo sleeve, because I think this is good advice to help them get started. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and take good care. See ya.